For something so small, this kernel is consequential. And yes, even a little controversial. Well, at least when it pops. This is a kernel of popcorn, of course, and if you enjoy this stuff, or perhaps even if you don't, you might have strong opinions on the best way to cook it. There's surprisingly many. There are air poppers and dedicated popcorn pots, and there's the kettle style that we made a while back, and there's even the famous or infamous microwave stuff, which can go from passable to horrible if cooked 1 second too long. See, for something so small and unassuming, these kernels carry an outsized culinary burden. Perhaps there's a better way to make perfect popcorn quickly and easily. Namely, a dedicated appliance that isn't an air popper. Well, that's the promise of this, the stir-crazy automatic popcorn maker. I purchased this to see if it's the real deal or if the notion of an appliance making absolutely perfect buttered popcorn is, well, just crazy talk. Today, we're gonna find out. Hello and welcome to I Want to Cook. My name is Chef Matt and this channel is all about helping you be a better cook. And after watching this episode, you might just be a popcorn master because we are taking a look at this thing, the Stir Crazy, made by West Bend. Now this video isn't sponsored or anything like that. I bought this with my own money, but if you know me, well, I didn't buy it the traditional way. I actually bought this at a thrift store. I got this new in the box. It was about $11 and I thought, well, let's try this out. I love popcorn. My family loves popcorn. I make it quite often and well, I thought this might be worth examining because I really like the notion of it. Now, if you can't find one of these new in the box at the thrift store like I did, or even used for that matter, they don't cost all that much new. They're about $40, and that's about the same price as what you would pay for a decent air popper. So if you're maybe deciding between an air popper and one of these, well, I think this video might just help you determine which is going to be the better choice for you. Now, before we get cooking with this thing, let me give you the nickel tour because the way it operates is pretty darn neat. So first of all, you've got this dome here that also acts as a bowl. This is going to cover the unit while the popcorn kernels are popping. And the way it works is actually really neat. So in an air popper, popcorn kernels pop because there's hot air. And once those kernels are heated, the moisture inside of them, well, that makes them explode. They're kind of like a little culinary grenade that way. But the way this works is it's got this heating plate. So just like as if we were making popcorn in a pan or one of those old crank pots, well, it heats from the bottom. And then when you turn the on switch on, this guy rotates right here. And what that does is it stirs the popcorn and the oil while everything gets nice and hot. So in essence, it's kind of like one of those crank pots, except you don't have to do the cranking. Another cool feature this has is an auto reverse feature. So let's say these rods come into a culinary traffic jam, like a bunch of kernels, they will automatically reverse themselves so that, well, all the kernels are popped. And I've found that in using this, it does a great job of popping all the kernels. But there's also some really ingenious features with this as well. So, for example, once you have the lid on, up top here, you might see there's these little holes. And that's intentional because in addition to letting the steam vent out while the popcorn pops, well, you can put pats of butter here and they will actually drip onto the popcorn as it is popping and as it is rotating. So you're getting hot buttered popcorn, well, automatically. It's pretty cool. The whole process only takes about 5 minutes or so, and this can make anywhere from 2 to 6 quarts of popcorn. Now you'll notice there's also this piece here, this plastic lid, and this is vital to the machine as well, because once everything is done popping, what you do is you put this on, because again, there's going to be some butter here if you use it, and what you can do is you can actually flip the whole thing upside down, and you now have your own bowl to eat the popcorn out of. Another neat feature is that this has an internal cord storage, so what you could do is you can just wrap the cord around here to get it out of the way. And this is really neat if you're short on space or just never want to lose parts, is this actually nests right inside this bowl here, so it's all self-contained, and you can just put it on a shelf or in your pantry, and when you're ready to use it, the unit is right in here. That's pretty ingenious. As far as cleaning, that's relatively easy as well. The bowl cleans up easily. It's plastic. West Bend says you can put it in the top of a dishwasher, but I just clean everything by hand. And then one last ingenious feature is that this actually unscrews this part here, this nut that kind of holds this blade down, this turning stir. And you can take this out, and then you can wash this. Now, of course, you don't want to immerse this in water or anything, but you can take a wet paper towel, some soap, and just kind of clean this out. It's all pretty easy to clean. But the real question is, does it make decent popcorn? So let's find out. I've got about 3/4 of a cup of popcorn kernels here. And for the oil, I'm using avocado oil. You can use any oil that you want. So all we do here is we just pour our oil right here into this plate. This would be the same thing you would do if you were making, like I say, that kettle corn or popcorn in one of those crank machines. And we are just going to pour this in here. Now you want to get all the kernels in an even layer, just like this. Now we are going to put our lid on. Now I do like buttered popcorn, so we're going to put some little notches of butter here that I already cut up. This is just straight out of the refrigerator. Now all we have to do is turn this thing on, and in about 5 minutes or so, we are going to have some popcorn. And just like that, about 5 minutes later, we have, well, automatically popped popcorn that has automatically been drizzled with butter. As you can see, all the butter is run down those holes. If there's any left, you can just kind of brush it through and get it onto the top of the popcorn, but, well, it worked. So now all we have to do is flip this thing over and enjoy the fruits of our non-labor. But this is important. Remember this piece here, before flipping, you want to put this right on there so you don't get any butter drippings anywhere. So here we go. Let's flip this guy over, lift this up, and voila, we have a big old bowl of popcorn here. We'll add a little bit of salt. It's great. And it was so easy. Now, if you're wondering if this is better than an air-popped popcorn, I think so. But again, this is gonna kind of depend on your personal situation. If you don't want any fat at all, no oil, then an air popper is gonna be better for you because you don't have to add any oil to that. It's only the heat from the air popper, like a big old blow dryer, that pops those kernels. This, of course, needs some oil to work. You wouldn't want to just put the kernels in dry. And of course, if you like buttered popcorn, yeah, I know you can do that in an air popper too. You can put it on top, but I think it's more convenient to have it drip down from below with this machine here. So my preference is one of these over an air popper. I just like the way that the popcorn turns out. Now, as far as doing something like kettle corn, I don't think this machine is necessarily going to replicate that, but that's kind of its own thing, and it is a little bit of a labor, and you always do risk kind of burning the sugar with that. But if you're interested in knowing how to cook your own kettle corn, I'll put a link to that video in the description below. But there you go. For my money, I think the West Bend Stir Crazy is a really good automatic popcorn maker. Again, this is going to be my preference in the future. When I want to make popcorn, I just enjoy the product that it makes a lot more than an air popper. But I want to hear from you. Do you have one of these things? Or, you know, what is your preferred method of making popcorn? I know that West Bend has been making these a long time. These go back decades. So maybe your family used one when you were a kid. Maybe you have good memories of it. I would love to hear that in the comments below. Okay, before we get to trivia time, a little show and tell. Get a load of this guy. Yeah, that Stir Crazy wasn't the only score that I got at a thrift store lately. This is a Magnalite Dutch oven, a vintage guy. This is straight from the thrift store. I mean, you can even see the price tag on it. I got this for $6.99. But Magnalite was a vintage American brand, I believe. I've never actually cooked with Magnalite, so I'm, very curious about what this is going to be like. Have you ever used one of these? Are you familiar with Magnalite? If you are, I'd love to hear your comments in below. But I think it's just such a beautiful pot, and well, it's kind of got like this little Art Deco situation going on here. A beautiful Magnalite Dutch oven. Guys, this is the reason I thrift. Okay, trivia time. Last week I asked you to identify this and what this material is, and several of you knew exactly what this is. This is milk glass, and I suppose it's a milk glass made out of milk glass. And now milk glass, the material goes back centuries, but it's just something very unique. I believe this is probably from the 1940s or 1950s. I got this at an antique store when I was in Virginia. I think a couple of months ago I went to like some antique stores and I saw this, and it's beautiful. I haven't used it yet. Wait a minute, I got an idea. Okay, so this milk glass is now going to be my new little mini popcorn bowl. Milk glass. Congratulations to everybody who knew exactly what this is. For this week's culinary trivia, we've got something small. It's not quite as small as a kernel of popcorn, but it's pretty small nonetheless. What is this? If you know what this little thing is, or you have a guess, be sure to put that in the comments below, and I will of course let you know the correct answer, what this thing is and what it's used for, in the next episode. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Until next time, I hope you want to cook.